everyone, welcome to Squirrel Brain Stories. Just a little reminder right here at the beginning, we're going to be talking about heavy topics. Please make sure to take care of yourself, reach out to a friend if this triggers something in you. Make sure you drink your water, take your meds, and just maybe if you're not in a good place, today is not the day for this, come back to us later.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Squirrel Brain Stories. I'm Angela, and I'm here with my co-host, Adria.
Hi, guys.
And the last episode, we were kind of talking about the marriage with Juan and, early in the marriage still. And, one thing that Adria's asked and Buck has asked me too is like, how did the control change, and it's kind of one of those things where you don't see it happening until it's so extreme that one day you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I think I said it earlier. It's the frog in the pot of water, right? Have you heard that?
I've heard it, but I don't really know what it means.
If you put a frog in a pot of water that's already boiling, it's going to jump out, right? But if you put it in there and you slowly turn the heat up, the frog's going to die before it realizes that the water's even boiling.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's just, it happens so gradually that you have to...
You don't realize.
It's hard to notice.
Yeah. A couple of the things early on he did, which should have been red flags, but
Your red flag meter did not work.
Yeah, no, it was broken. But I used to go to the gym, and he told me I had to stop going to the gym. And so...
Now, was that... Because at this point, you're still coming off of the drastic weight gain from being in the cult and being fed garbage.
Yeah.
Moldy garbage. And you've had 4 children at this point.
Well, when he made me stop going to the gym, it was early on in. It was before the Mexico stuff.
Okay, so you're only 2 kids and pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So once I was pregnant with my older daughter, he told me I had to stop going to the gym. And I thought I was just, he didn't want anything to happen to me because I was pregnant.
Is that how he masked it? Kind of like, oh, I want you to be safe.
Yeah.
Don't overexert yourself. You look perfect. I don't need you to go to the gym and work out.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't want anything to happen to the baby. And then one of the other things that should have been a total red flag, but when we first got together, I was doing my prereqs for nursing.
Yeah.
And he told me I had to stop doing classes because I was going to have a baby and there was no way that I was going to be able to be in a nursing program while I had a little baby after I gave birth to the baby. And I should have stood my ground, but I didn't, So that was crazy. Should have been a red flag.
It should have been. But again, you literally had just come out of a cult. We're talking less than a year out of it, and not even completely out of it because you were still living on cult property.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone could have been healed enough from what you went through to be able to accurately identify those early instances of control.
Yeah, because at that point, I still was, for a very long time, I still was in the mindset in the indoctrination that you had to do whatever your husband said.
Yeah, you married this complete and utter narcissistic psychopath because you got pregnant, and it was still so ingrained. I can't have a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So, we're still in the story with Juan and the marriage with him. And, one of the other crazy things that happened while we were married is, the youngest son, he wasn't born yet, But one of Juan's cousins contacted him, and he's like, hey, I bought a house. He had a house that he had for some while, and he was a co-owner with some other guy that was his roommate, but they had a falling out, and he needed to figure out what to do with the house because it was in both of the guys' names. I don't really know exactly all of the details, but he basically asked us to buy this house from him, to get the guy's name off of the loan or the lease.
So he wanted you guys to buy his roommate out of his half.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But it was weird because we were going to be the only owners. Like the paperwork was only approving us to be the owners of this house. So I don't really know. The whole thing was sketchy, but Juan was like, okay, well, let's go do it. So we met with this real estate agent, Patricia. She worked for Americasa, and she, was doing all the paperwork, and we would meet with her often, and we're doing all the steps. And then finally it gets to the financial part. And she's like, you guys don't have enough money in the bank? And we're like, okay. So what does she do?
More illegal things?
Yeah, it was funny. I actually was trying to find information about her and about Americasa, and they were part of a $2 million fraud scheme. And there were some people that actually went to jail. So you know what she did? So she had some customers that she had helped get a house for, and they had a lot of money in the bank. And she would have, say, like, us, Juan and I, we had to pay, I don't know, like $500 or $1,000 to get Juan added onto their bank account as a
Stop it.
No, I'm serious. So we paid to get Juan added onto this bank account so that we would get approved for the financial aspect of it. Because, we had lots of bit bills and kids and cars. So we didn't have 10 grand sitting around in some bank account. So Juan and I paid to get him added to this person's bank account. He went to the bank with them and got that all set up.
Wait. The people knew she was adding him to the account?
Yeah, she introduced Juan to the bank account owner.
Okay, I thought she was just going behind their back, and I still shady and sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, no, she introduced him to the bank account owner. They met at the bank. They went in with him to the bank, and they added him on as a co-owner to the bank account because they had like $10,000 in their bank account. And then they had a separate like $5,000 in their savings. So she got him added on. And then the other part of it, the other shady part was we hadn't done our taxes yet. And so she needed our new tax report, our tax filing for the other part of the financial aspect. She introduced us to this lady, and she had a business which is Abe, but it's spelled A-B. It's supposed to be Jewish, or was what her story was. But Abe tax accountant in Vancouver, Washington. So we went to go do our taxes with her, and there was a problem because a lot of Juan's job had been under the table. So he didn't have enough. There wasn't enough,
provable
income.
Hours work.
Yeah, enough income made. So she added like $10,000 onto our taxes as side labor, as handyman labor. And then she filed the taxes. I don't think we really knew how much she was adding onto there until we got papers from the IRS saying that we owed like $7,000. And she had added way more than what she said she was going to add. I don't remember exactly how much she said she was going to add, but it was way more than what she said she was going to add. Because then we ended up getting a bill for $7,000 from the IRS.
Because he made $10K under the table that was never taxed.
She added more than that. Yeah. But that didn't happen until after this whole house thing. And so we're working with AmeriCasa, and we're working with this tax accountant, Abe tax accountant. You know, she added on all this extra fake income. He was put on this bank account, and stuff just was super shady. And so finally, at some point along the way, we pull out and we're like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, because you guys have fucked yourself 7 ways from Sunday at this point.
Yeah. And so Juan went to, he told the people that he needed to be removed from the bank account. They wanted to remove him from the bank account because they wanted more money to remove him. So he was just sitting on these people's bank account for like a couple months, and they were just like arguing back and forth that no, we can't remove you unless we get another $500. And the Patricia from AmeriCasa is like, they won't remove you unless you pay the other fee. So what does he do?
Who did y'all call?
No, he went to that bank. It was some credit union in Washington. He went to the bank, and since he was a co-owner on the bank account, he withdrew $5,000 from their bank account.
Yep, there it is. You know, first of all, they earned that because they should have taken him off, because my fear as the actual account holder would have been the IRS is coming after you, which means they're coming after all your assets, which if your name is on my account, that's part of your assets. Mm-hmm. And they're going to come after me. But also, I'm really glad your luck has changed. Because every useless, corrupt, and shady person that exists in every field, you seem to have found them all. Every fucking one of them.
I know. So then after he withdrew this money from their bank account, they like lost their shit.
Yeah. But they can't even go after him for theft because his name's on the fucking account. It's his money. What are they going to do?
And so you know what they did do? They served me with papers at work. They were filing a civil suit or small claims, something like that. Small claims, maybe. So they served me with paperwork at court. And I didn't recognize the person's name because the person's name was not the person that owned the bank accounts. So we went to court, and the judge, and she's like, he took money from this bank account. And the judge is like, is that true? And Juan and I both were like, we've never met this person before, ever. This is the first time we've ever met this person. And the judge is like, are you the bank account owner? And she's like, no, it's my friend. And he's like, case dismissed.
Yeah.
You can't represent, your friend has to be here.
They have to be the ones that filed the fucking paperwork.
Yeah. So he dismissed it and they couldn't do anything. The owner never came back to sue us.
Honestly, they wouldn't have been able to do anything because, like it or not, they left his name on the account. That's his money too. Fucking stupid.
Yeah, and then I sent a letter to the Attorney General of Oregon.
What did you say?
I can't remember which attorney. I can't remember the name of the Attorney General. I have some of the paperwork, but I don't have their letter they sent back to me. But I told them the whole thing, what happened. This AmeriCasa lady, Patricia, how she had added Juan, had a contact, and she had Juan added to a bank account that wasn't his to prove that he had more money. That way we would qualify for a home loan. And I reported the tax accountant lady that fraudulently, that added all this money onto our taxes, and sent them the tax bill to show them. And they sent me a letter back. And apparently it turns out that this lady, Patricia with AmeriCasa, her loan license in Washington had expired. She didn't even have a valid license. It was expired. So how is she underwriting, home loans? And so, like 6 months go by, and they sent a business card for a tax accountant. And they're like, here's a number of a tax accountant so you can go get your taxes fixed. And so we did that. And they amended the tax return to remove all that fake income. And that way we didn't owe all that money. And like 6 months go by or something, the government doesn't move fast at all.
Not unless they really want to.
And we're contacted by the FBI.
Of course you are, because what is your life without the FBI?
Oh my God.
And what did they say?
We went down to Salem to the FBI office, and they interviewed us and took all of the facts, and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to do anything with this Americasa or Patricia. They said, yeah, she did have an expired Washington license, but it was kind of convoluted. There was a lot of people involved. It was kind of a big racketeering thing.
Yeah.
They weren't sure if they were going to get enough evidence to proceed with any charges against them. So as far as my understanding, nothing ever happened. But I researched Americasa the other day as I was preparing for this podcast because I wanted to see if anything ever happened. It doesn't mention Patricia's name, but there's another Americasa group out of Seattle, and they were fined like $2 million because of loan fraud and a housing scheme.
Now, you are so incredibly lucky no, I'm dead serious, to be able to walk into an FBI office, admit to participating in fraud, and then just walk your happy ass right back out. No.
You see like the FBI offices on TV and stuff, and they're like these big fancy buildings and like all the security. It's really not.
They got like broom closets. Broom closets and shit.
It's like an old rundown building, and it's like,
yeah,
this is the FBI office? Like, damn, where'd all your tax dollars go?
We know the answer to that.
So that was pretty crazy and chaotic and a huge mess. But like I said, as I said earlier, there's always drama everywhere. Like there's always some sort of bullshit. It never fails. So that was one of the other big things that happened during that marriage. And after that, things like external kind of bullshit, wasn't extreme as these other things with the immigration stuff and the FBI and the home fraud stuff. It kind of calmed down in that aspect, but he was still dramified,
Now, I was going to ask, so he has a history of being unfaithful, right? I think we can say that pretty clearly. He left his wife in Mexico, came to the US, married you because it was not legal because he was already legally married. Mm-hmm. But does that continue into your marriage to him, your guys' relationship, that he's unfaithful while controlling you?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, there were some things that I found on his phone, but he was just like, oh, I'm just messaging this person. There were like nudes and stuff.
It's not cheating if I don't touch her.
Yeah, it's like, she's in Mexico. We were just talking. She likes to send pictures. I tell her not to because I'm married. Like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So I'm pretty sure there was stuff going on. I mean, when I was pregnant with my littlest boy, I was never unfaithful. And somehow I contracted an STI while I was pregnant with my youngest son. So, like, you can't just get an STI from sitting on a toilet.
Of course you can.
So I'm pretty sure, I mean, later on in the divorce, when we were actually going through the divorce stuff, I actually did find out he was having an affair. He was like helping this pay for this lady's rent because she was going to let him use her address so that he can get a Washington driver's license.
Oh, so more fraud.
Uh-huh.
No, okay.
Yeah.
At least he's, consistent. I don't know. But what is he doing in the home to create the chaos that he obviously needs to survive? Because he does not seem like a man that can sit still and have things just be
normal,
peaceful.
Yeah, definitely not. He'd be, cussing someone out on the phone, arguing with someone, or fighting with his brothers, or fighting with someone in Mexico. I mean, I try to stay out of it all, or fighting with the boys. One time he pepper sprayed one of my sons.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he pepper sprayed one of my sons.
For why?
He didn't like that he skateboarded. So he would, every time he got a new skateboard, he would go break his skateboard, or he wouldn't let him go out. Yeah, he was a piece of shit. And like when he would try hitting them, I'd break them up and separate them. But it never seemed like it ever ended. He constantly needed someone to bicker with and fight with.
And if the boys weren't available, how was it directed? That chaos, that need for control, because
towards towards the dog. I reported him for animal abuse. I actually have a letter from the Oregon Humane Society. They did an X-ray on her and they found fractures and yeah. When he was, I wanted to give her away, but I knew that he would get super pissed with me and it would cause a lot of problem. But as soon as he got home, like a vacuum closet, yeah, the dog lived in a vacuum closet. As soon as he got home, he would put her in there and she wasn't allowed to come out unless we took her out to the bathroom. Yeah, it was,
what a stellar man.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there were things, just the way, he would do things to the kids. I'm sure, he would do stuff to the dog. The dog was so afraid of him.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing that was weird. This is when someone is really, really evil. Is that anytime they're around any animal, even an animal that doesn't know them and has never seen them before, if that animal is afraid of them,
yeah,
they're an evil person. If the animal knows that they're a bad person, they're a fucking evil person.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because there were so many times we'd go over to someone's house and the animals wouldn't even come near him or they would run away. And yeah, and it's what's wrong with your dog?
Nothing. It's him. It's him.
Yeah. Crazy. So yeah, the control was super bad. I'd be working and he'd be, if he would be calling me and I wouldn't answer because I'm working, I couldn't be on my phone all the time at work.
Yeah.
Then when I would finally answer, when I had a moment, he'd just start, cussing at me, yelling at me. And were you in the doctor's office fucking him? And I'm I'm working. I'm trying to provide food for our family.
Cheaters love to tell on themselves.
I didn't realize that's what it was.
Yeah.
But there was definitely a huge amount of insecurity.
Yeah.
And some years go by and it's semi-calmish.
Okay. Once again, define calmish, because I'm hearing a lot of parallels between Juan and Dickie Boy. like just control for control's sake. Everything is my way or the highway. Yeah. I have to have this constant dance going on around me, and I have to be the puppeteer. I have to make sure everybody's moving exactly how I want them to. It just that feels very similar.
No, we were his prisoners. It definitely felt like we were prisoners. So some time goes by and everything is dictated by him, Like for Christmas, I would go and get, at least with this husband, I was allowed to have my ATM card. So like I could buy a coffee, I could, get the McDonald's for the kids through the drive-through. We couldn't go and play at McDonald's without him.
Because you might run into a side piece.
I guess.
I don't know.
So we were only basically allowed, like, I could get away with running to the Fred Meyer and grabbing a couple things for dinner. But if it was outside of anything for dinner or getting groceries, we couldn't go anywhere without him.
So how did he get you to that point? Because it is incredibly rare to start off a relationship with that level of control and someone stays. So what was that lead up? Like you talked a little bit about, stop going to the gym. It's not good for the baby. But how did it go from that to you can't breathe outside of this house if I don't know where you are and who you're with?
Well, a lot of it still had to do with my indoctrination from the cult, where I had to do whatever my husband said.
Because healing at this point is not even in the cards. No. Therapy is not even a blip on your radar. No. Thinking I have all this trauma from my past has not even registered for you yet.
No, not at all. No. So there was no healing that had happened at all. Not at all. So, once with this mindset where I have to obey my husband and do what he says, well, once they get that power, they get power hungry. And you don't notice it, but it's like, oh, I used to go to the mall with the kids on the weekend and we get a free candy at C's, and then we go to Annie Ann's and get ourselves a pretzel to, oh, no, now, you have to be busy doing this. And it just slowly crept away until they have every aspect of control that they have. And there's always good excuses that back up. Oh, you can't because of this. And
we don't have the money for pretzels. I miss you. Yeah. I don't want to be here by myself.
Yeah. The excuses take effect and they start reeling in the control. So there was, so I'm just kind of getting tired of everything. And I'm like, okay, maybe a change will be good, So I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, I heard from work about this job position that was open down at UCSF in San Francisco.
Okay.
And I was like, so the girls were, maybe 6 and 7 at this point, 7 and 8, somewhere around there. And I was like, okay, maybe, we would go to, that was the one thing that we would do. We would go down to, what is it called? Six Flags down in Vallejo.
Yeah.
We would go down there like once a year. We actually got the annual passes. And so we'd go down there a couple times too, sometimes. And the kids love, it was fun.
What's not to love about Six Flags?
I know, it was fun. And so I was like, maybe I should apply for this job because we go down to California a lot and we'd just be like right around the corner. And it never really was that fun, because as soon as we get down there, we'd go on some rides and he'd just get irritated sitting in a hotel because he's super fucking cheap. So like I have to take my crock pot with me so that we can make meals in the hotel room.
Not we, you.
Well, yeah, me. Yeah, so, and then he'd be like ready to go, come back home after day one.
God, I fucking hate people like that.
I'm like,
I hate it. Just say you don't want to fucking go. Let's just not bother going if you're gonna fucking ruin it for everybody.
I know. It really made me mad because I'm like, we drove all the way down here and we go to the park for one day and now you already want to go back.
That's such a control tactic though, because he never has to outwardly say, let's not bother going. It's the same shit that happens in relationships where they never outright tell you not to hang out with your friends. They just text you and call you incessantly while you're out. It's always a fucking problem. It's always a big blowout fight when you get back home. And eventually, it's just not worth the fucking stress to go out with your friends. It's not worth the stress to try and go to theme parks as a family because he's going to be a little bitch the whole time. He's going to ruin the whole thing. So let's just not even bother.
Yeah. And like we'd have to eat at McDonald's before and, couldn't get anything at the park because, he's
but they do food passes now.
Yeah. I remember seeing those. It was just, so I was like, okay, maybe this San Francisco thing will be a good thing. So we pack up everything and we have 2 cars. We have a big truck and we have my little car. And we go down. He didn't come down. So he drove everything down and we got a storage unit to put a bunch of stuff. And he was still giving time for his work. So he would come up and go back down and come up and go back down. Anyways, me and all the kids, we were staying in a hostel down in Lower Nob Hill, I think. It was like 3 blocks from the police station, going up the hill towards the big church. Very sketchy area.
Yeah.
Super, super sketchy. Oh my gosh. And what I didn't know about this job was that, yes, it was for UCSF, but I was physically working out of San Francisco General Hospital. That was like super. I've never felt like so paranoid in my whole entire life. Like I would not, I wouldn't take a purse. I wouldn't take a bag. I wouldn't bring my phone out. I'd stop wearing jewelry. And it was super sketchy. So from the hostel, and basically you have a studio. So I had a refrigerator in there and I had a microwave. We would never use the kitchen down the basement of the hostel building because there was rats down there.
I'm sorry, you couldn't pay me to go into a fucking basement at a hostel.
It was, no. I went down there to go check it out and we saw rat poop. I'm like, no, I had my crock pot. And so I'd put stuff in the crock pot up in the room. Yeah, I cook with the crock pot or the microwave,
No, I'm not laughing at you. Just kind of, I would just eat out all the time if I didn't have a crock pot. Because wouldn't catch me alive or dead down there.
I know. We went out a couple of times, but he was so damn cheap that like he'd always give me crap if he'd see food restaurant places come up on the in the bank account. And so my goal was to, once he finally was down, to find a place to stay.
Yeah.
Get a lease somewhere. And it was just so stressful, like going to the grocery market and having to like get an Uber to like get all the because I'm so used to buying like a week's worth of groceries. So I would buy whatever would fit in this little refrigerator that I had in my room. And I rented a parking spot that's on the block over from the police station.
And that shit's expensive. Parking spot rentals in the city?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I had a parking spot because at the San Francisco General, I had free parking. So I would at least go and park. I was able to drive to work. I had to walk down to my parking spot. That is like a shady area to be walking through.
Girl, listen, I used to work in the financial and I would get there at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It'd be pitch black. I'd have to take BART. It'd be sketchy out there.
Oh my gosh. I got lost one time on BART. Because I didn't,
God.
there was like, right after I started working at UCSF, there was this big Christmas party that I went to. I still didn't know my way around. It was like my first week down there.
Yeah.
So I got lost.
Listen, I was so anxious about taking part the first time. I did like 2 or 3 trial runs.
Oh,
because I was like,
smart.
I have to know. I took somebody with me as my ex. I was like, I've never taken part and I'm so scared. Like, I'm a full ass adult at this point. And I'm like, I cannot get lost in San Francisco. I cannot get off on the wrong stop. Like, please help me.
No, it's so nerve wracking.
It is.
So the job was okay. It was a good job. It was a nice pay increase from what I was making here in Portland. But I lasted 6 weeks down there. And then I told my job, I'm like, I have to go back to Portland. I can't do this. So the day before or the day after I decided that I couldn't do it, we were supposed to go look at a townhome that we were going to lease. Because the daycare down there is so expensive.
Everything in the city is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, I was trying to find daycare for the girls.
Good fucking luck.
Well, it costs more than what Juan was making working at a restaurant as like a cook, you know?
It's one of those things. It's the reason I had to stop working. If your paycheck and then some is going to go to childcare, somebody's got to fucking stay home.
And I tried to register the boys in school, and I couldn't even get them registered for school because I didn't have a California driver's license. Like, what? It's so weird. I couldn't register them for school. So they weren't going to school because I didn't have a California driver's license, and I couldn't get a California driver's license until I had a real address.
A California address, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so I'm like, I can't do this. We have to go back to Portland. And so we came back to Portland.
And how did he feel about that? Was he kind of, I don't know, in my head, I'm imagining how I think he would react, but I want to know.
You know, his reaction about the whole thing was just kind of weird. I'm kind of wondering if maybe he was like having his single life while we were down there, and if maybe he never really was going to like fully move down there. Because he never really he never really moved down there with us. He'd just come and go and bring stuff to the storage unit and then come back to Portland and drive back down and bring stuff to the storage unit and then come back to Portland. But he never really moved down there with us.
Yeah.
It was weird, the whole thing. And then he didn't really seem to mind that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so we came back to Portland. I'm like, okay, well, now we got to figure out what to do. So again, we stayed at a hotel for a couple of days.
And where was he staying during this time when he would come back up?
I don't know. Because before we went down, we had bought a mobile home. And we had it was like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to call it, it wasn't a manufactured home. It was the single wide.
It was a trailer type thing.
It was a trailer. Yeah. It was a trailer in a trailer park. It wasn't a cabin. It wasn't a manufactured home. It was a fucking white trash trailer, but we remodeled it. We tore out the floors. We tore out the cabinets. We repainted. We did everything so that it looked better. So we had sold that when I went down. And so I don't really know where he was staying.
I can guess.
Yeah. Girls probably.
Yeah.
So we came back and stayed at a hotel for a couple nights. And then one of his brother Yvonne, had an apartment that he had a lease on, but they wanted to move somewhere else. And they were trying to get out of their lease, like all at the same time this was happening. And so we went to the office and we're like, okay, he wants to get out of his lease and we're looking for a place. Can we take over his lease? And so we did the application stuff and yeah, they let us take over his lease. So he moved out and we moved in. And so we were there for a little while until we found a little bit bigger place. And then we moved to the little bigger place once the lease was up. But after this, he decided that he wants to build a food cart. I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to build a food cart.
And you're still working at this time?
When we came back up from UCSF, I wasn't working quite yet. It probably took me about a month to 2 months until I got a job. I started applying at my previous employer because that's basically been my whole career at this same employer, this hospital up in Portland, Oregon. And I basically worked there my whole life, except for 1 year at a nursing home as a CNA, but only because I had to have a year of experience as a CNA before I came to the hospital. So it's pretty much been the only place I've ever worked. So once I started applying at this place in Portland again, one of the there was this new manager. I hadn't met her yet because she was new. And she said, I saw your out. She called me up and she's like, I saw you applying for jobs again up here. And I heard nothing but good things about you from your previous manager. And she said that you were great and I should really consider you. And I was like, well, I've had some interviews, but I haven't decided on anything. She's like, will you come in for an interview? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I came in and basically I was already in, you know, because it was the same department when I had left for UCSF.
And it's not like you had been gone for years at this point. You've been gone for 3 months.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I still had my seniority.
Yeah.
And so, and I think I even had my sick time because it hadn't been over the amount of time gone. So I still got all my old sick time back.
It was more like a long leave.
Yeah, kind of. But when I did leave down for UCSF, that he convinced me to withdraw my retirement funds so that he can build a food cart. So I withdrew my whatever it was, 403B or whatever my retirement thing was. I withdrew it. And he started building a food cart. And at the same time is when I got pregnant with my youngest child.
Okay, so we are now
2013.
We're now about a decade into this marriage.
Yeah, we were married for 10 years.
Okay. So we're nearing the end.
Kind of. It's a long end.
I know it's a long end.
And that's like a whole episode all by itself.
Yeah. I don't know if excited's the right word. I think I'm ready for
excited, anger, disappointment, failure, systemic failure.
Yes, I can be disappointed in the system. I don't know if I can be disappointed in someone I have no standards for. Just kind of, par for the course.
Yeah.
Is he physically abusive to you at any point in time?
No, never. Not once. I was abusive to him twice.
Reactive abuse is a thing.
I threw a can opener at him one time, and I threw a picture frame. I when you throw it like sideways, not the long way, it just gets so much more power.
You gotta throw it the little corner.
I went threw it at him, and it hit him right on his shin, and his shin like burst open and started bleeding. It was a metal picture frame.
Oh, how sad for him.
So that was really the only time that there was a physical altercation
to you, but he was definitely physically abusive to the kids.
Yes. And mentally and psychologically to me and emotionally.
Was it just a constant stream of, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're never going to do anything, you're a horrible mom, a horrible wife?
He never told me I was fat, but once we got the food cart going, I'd be helping a customer. So I work my day job. As soon as I get off from my day job, I go straight to the food cart. I do all of the food cart deliveries because we were on Uber Eats and Grubhub and Eat24. So I didn't have their drivers. I was the one from the food cart. I delivered all of the delivery orders.
Damn.
And and he had the girls working in the kitchen, helping him doing the cash register when I was out doing delivery. Anyways, when a customer would come, and if it was a guy, he's like, what do you recommend? And I'm like, well, blah, 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 blah. Those are my favorite. And the guy would order. He's like, okay, I'll take, the person would order. And he'd be like, and Juan, he'd get so jealous. He'd be like, if you want to go fuck him, just go and fuck him and get out of here. And I'm like, I'm just helping a customer.
Like, if you don't want me to talk to people, you get the fuck up here and do this shit.
It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Like I said, cheaters just love to fucking tell on themselves.
And then one time, my older daughter, she was at the cash register, and I think I was doing a delivery. She told me about this, but I didn't witness it. But she said there was an older Hispanic guy that came up, and he was talking, and they were joking and laughing. And the Hispanic guy was like, "Is that your daughter working in there with you?" He's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "She's pretty. She's a pretty little girl." And he's like, "You want to take her home?" Yeah, my 12-year-old daughter. He's asking some weird random Hispanic guy if he wants to take her home. I was so pissed when she told me that.
Yeah, so for you guys just tuning in for the first time, his name is Juan Espinosa. He's a wanted felon. So if you guys see this fucker, his picture's up in like episode 7. Find him. He's a piece of shit. I hate him.
Yes, as do I. He's caused nothing but damage to my family.
And I think as we get into the real beginning of the end, next time we have a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A letter one of my daughters wrote that kind of reflects the trauma and the damage he's done in her life.
Yeah.
It's a very old letter, like from when she was 12 years old.
Yeah, when he was trying to pawn her off to a random old creepy stranger.
Yeah.
She thinks,
and she told me she thought he was a drug dealer too, because we had this locked filing cabinet, and it was after I don't know exactly how it happened, but she went in there in the filing cabinet for whatever reason. He left it unlocked or something, and she said there was some white powder that was spilled in the bottom of the drawer.
Was there any signs of him using while you guys were together?
No.
No.
He was a heavy drinker. I mean, he didn't start out as a drinker, but as time went on, like his, 1 beer a week went up to like 5 beers a week, went up to, a case a day, a case a week. And then next thing you know, he's drinking a case of beer a day. So his dad is a horrible alcoholic. I don't know. I don't think his grandpa is. I met him before he died in Mexico. He seemed like a decent enough person, but his dad definitely was a drunk. One time before we came up from Mexico, and here I'm like, pregnant down in Mexico.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and he's drunk, and he's like, "Doña, por favor, regálame un poco de su caldito. Give me some of your juice." And I'm like,
ew.
I told Juan, I'm like, he needs to go. He's hitting on me, and I'm pregnant, and that is inappropriate, and I'm not gonna allow it.
I'm sorry, my face is so loud right now. That is just...
Yeah, my own father-in-law hitting on me. Like, so disgusting.
Somebody watched one too many videos and thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I know. He's lucky that happened back then and not now, because I'd give him a piece of my fucking mind.
Swift kick in the nuts.
Yeah. So, yeah. Piece of shit. That's for sure. But I think we're going to get close to wrapping this up. And there's a lot to go over in the next episode. And this is going to be a big one, because there's so many bad things that happened and so many things that should not have happened that happened.
Yeah. But we're going to get into it next time. Find us, Squirrel Brain Stories, on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Gmail.
Squirrelbrainstories@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you guys. Again, if you have negative things, we don't want those. Positive or neutral is fine.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, reach out on one of those platforms and let us know your questions, because, I kind of gloss over stuff, and I'm sure there's some stuff that needs some clarification. Adria is very familiar with most of the story, not so much about the Juan aspect, but she's a lot more familiar with you guys. So there might not be as much questions that come to her that maybe might come up, you guys think of. So please reach out.
And also, please keep in mind, you guys, that I will ask some uncomfortable questions, but Andrew's still a person. She still has a right to keep some things to herself. So please just be thoughtful and mindful when we ask questions. Let's not ask anything outrageous. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening today.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.